Okay, so we're gonna be watching another Reggie video today. He posted a Fallout 4 video where the roaches double every day. Now, me personally, I haven't really played Fallout 4. I played Skyrim. I love Skyrim. Love Skyrim a lot. Yeah. As well as, I've also been looking at the Oblivion remake, because I actually haven't played Oblivion at all, so I feel like the remake might be busted. A lot of people are saying that's busted, and that's pretty good. But the Reggie's not new to this channel. We've seen them before and all that other good stuff. So we're just not gonna waste any time and get straight into it. If you enjoyed the video, please do be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as clicking the bell notification to please thine algorithm. Yeah, let's get into the video. Okay. Now, I'm well aware that all Bethesda games are made on their own in-game engine, and at times it cannot be the best, so I wonder how many roaches he's going to get to before the game engine just says no and stops working. Let's find out.
Hypothetical situation.
Okay.
You're sitting at home and the entire world plunges into nuclear winter.
Oh, God.
Hypothetical situation.
Yep.
You're sitting at home and the entire world plunges into nuclear winter.
Couldn't be me.
Life gets a bit worse. Every morning you develop a new and
Just a
exciting
tiny
form
bit
of
worse.
cancer. And every night, somewhere in the world, an orphan is dissolved by acid rain. But that's not even the bad part. The bad part is the cockroaches. We don't really know why, but they're doubling every single day. Start with one roach, 2 weeks later, you've got 16,000. Give it another week, and it's 2 million. And
is that how that works? Does that math checks out every single day? 120. Okay, yeah, no, he's over exaggerating a little bit. I just had to.
And no.
My thoughts were thinking, and I didn't think the right thoughts in order to get to that. Yeah.
No, they're not very friendly. To
I imagine not.
survive this insectoid nightmare, you'll need to build your defenses, hone your skills, and utilize a vast arsenal of weapons, or you'll die painfully. The choice is yours. And
you don't have any bug repellent?
It's real. So let's get to work. But first, I have to tell you something. I am a proponent of diversity. I don't think we have enough of it. In fact, I want to maximize the differences between human races until we achieve a fantasy world with goblins, dwarves, and the Turkish.
Tyler
Which is why
won.
7 years ago, I petitioned NASA to slow the Earth's rotation and tidally lock us to the sun, such that America would constantly bask in the sun's radiance, while China would exist in perpetual darkness and slowly evolve into a mole society. I thought that would be pretty interesting. I also had a plan to turn the Philippines into gnomes, but unfortunately,
it'd be like what the ice elves turned into in Skyrim when they got trapped underground for so long.
The frauds at NASA were afraid of my visionary ideas, and they promptly rejected my proposal, which sent me into a deep depression.
Sorry,
the
I didn't
only
lock
thing
you
that
up.
was able to cheer me up was the sponsor of today's video, Zenless Zone Zero.
Surprised they didn't lock him up though, with how easily he was able to get into NASA.
Don't let the acronym fool you. ZZZ is a very exciting free-to-play 3D urban fantasy action role-playing game. That's VEF2P3DUFARPG for short. The game features a interesting setting in the post-apocalypse where you can utilize a wide variety of characters to explore the world, battle countless enemies, and find new gear. But most importantly, Zenless Zone Zero just entered version 2.0, which introduces a brand new area, Waifei Peninsula, that you can explore using one of the new agents.
I didn't know that.
Pan Yinhu, or Ju Fufu. My favorite is Yi Xuan, because
they got Kung Fu
she's not
Panda.
a wild animal or a child. Additionally, Zenless Zone Zero is celebrating its anniversary this month.
I actually put Kung Fu Panda in here.
For players to earn rewards, such as a free S-Rank agent, an S-Rank W engine, 30 limited channel pulls, and much more. Personally, I like to keep it simple. I select Yi Xuan, load into a nondescript locale, and horribly beat its denizens until I forget about the stresses of my modern life. It feels good, and I want that for you too. So give Zenless Zone
just roll the gacha and you'll feel better.
Zero a try for free. It's available now on PC, mobile, PlayStation, and it just launched on Xbox. So click the link in the description and use code ZZZ20Reggie to get started with 60 polychrome and 6,666 Denny. How exciting.
How
now,
exciting.
Back to the video. The rules of this challenge are very simple. On day 1 at exactly 12 p.m., 2 roaches will spawn and try to kill me. I will defeat them because
Easily.
I am marginally more intelligent. Every day after that,
Bullets
their
are very
numbers will
effective.
double until presumably the entire map is covered in 10 million rad roaches, at which point God himself won't be able to save us.
Praise
Also,
be
just for
Todd
fun,
Howard.
We're playing on 400% game speed, so the days
Oh!
are very short. Now, the only way to stop the insect apocalypse is to destroy their leader, the king of roaches, Reggie. Calling yourself the king of roaches is basically a self-diagnosis for schizophrenia, but it's not slowing him down any, because Mr.
I'm glad to see that the Roach King has his name, Reggie.
Blataria is a very powerful enemy that commands an army of insects, and he won't even spawn onto the map until we reach level 35. So our goal is to power level to 35 before the roaches overwhelm
the acrobatics.
us, then confront their king and put a stop to this once and for all. I did consider attempting this challenge on survival mode, but I get enough cock and ball torture at home, so I don't need to outsource that to Todd Howard. We'll be
Glad to see Fallout also has survival mode, much like Skyrim. So I'm pretty sure some of the mechanics are the same.
playing on very hard. Our
Very
journey
hard.
begins in the bathroom mirror. Here, we meet humanity's last hope for survival. His name, Gut Fuckman, and he will become the greatest exterminator to ever live. Now, in order to kill a roach, we need to think like a roach. So I set my
So much
intelligence to 1
Aspen.
and max out my luck. This is going to allow us to access the Idiot Savant perk for power leveling. Everything else doesn't really matter, so just spend your remaining time giving your character acromegaly and call it a night. Once that's done, we skip the opening tutorial and
Make him a
quickly fight our way
beautiful
through the
creation.
vault. Now outside in the world at 1 p.m., the clock is ticking. At this point, you probably got a few questions for me. How will we power level to 35?
Yes,
Where
please
is the
show me
Roach
all the
King?
power
And
leveling
most importantly,
moves.
why is there a dead Pakistani on my couch? I'll answer most of these in
I
time.
didn't
Just
need to
follow
ask that
along.
one, but okay.
For power leveling, we've got a plan, and the first step is to obtain Preston Garvey. Unfortunately, a couple other people had the same idea, so I had to use my superior diplomatic skills to convince them to change their mind. Dale
God bless
Carnegie
America.
would be proud. After that, we joined up with Preston, jumped in a suit of power armor, died painfully to the local wildlife, and then made our way back to Sanctuary by 11 p.m. Now,
You know, crazy with how power armor is, I figured you'd have to work a whole lot more to get it instead of just like, you know, because like I've seen my friend play Fallout a bit, and you know, you get the power armor like pretty very quickly. And I know there's different types and all that, but I just felt like you'd have to work for it a bit more.
now that we've got access to settlement building, I can reveal my master plan. Ladies and gentlemen, shelving. Allow me to
Shelving.
explain. Building settlement furniture rewards experience, and the cheapest thing to build is wooden and metal shelving. We are going to deconstruct every item in this entire town and turn it into thousands of shelves. If we do this right, we can probably hit level 15 by tomorrow morning. So,
Wha-
let it begin.
That's almost halfway.
I start demolishing everything. Street lamps, fence posts, entire houses, even that chair you're sitting on. I'm afraid that's actually a shelf in progress. Gonna have to take that.
Gone.
Preston's face contorts in horror as I tear the plumbing out of his walls just to build more shelves. But he's powerless to stop me. I work all night and into the morning until the first spawn of roaches hit. 2 of them attack me, but I'm so hopped up on construction fumes and asbestos that they never stood a chance. By
I'd
destroying
imagine
all
not. It'd
public
kind of be sad if you died to 2 roaches. They'd be bad.
infrastructure, not only do I receive the satisfaction of knowing Mama Murphy will die of hypothermia, but I also receive 1,100 steel ingots and 2,600 planks of wood. So now we can begin the
I love
method.
it when I
Enter
strip
build
everybody's
mode
home
and
of
find
materials.
a wall you really like. This part is important because you'll be staring at it for the next 2 hours. Now start building
fair.
shelves. Each one gives us 2 XP, and since I am a mentally challenged man, we have a high chance of triggering Idiot Savant to triple our XP gains. Once you're all out of materials, deconstruct the shelves for a 50% refund and start all over. By the time you're done, the sound of your own neurodivergent laughter should be burned into your brain like a cattle prod. And you should also be level 16, which is nearly halfway to our goal of 35.
Yeah, that's
Not
almost
bad.
halfway.
I pick up a
That's
few
pretty
perks to
good.
increase our damage
Oh, hi, Cat.
reduction and
Blocking
help
the
us
tracking
gather
again,
more
thank you.
ammunition. But with no more wood or metal, it's time for us to move on to phase 2.
Time to go to the enemy bases and strip them of materials. Yes.
Research and development.
Oh,
In a matter
okay.
of weeks, we'll be wading through a sea of roaches. And if we want to come out on the other side not looking like hammered dog shit, we're going to need to build a roach-killing exoskeleton. In terms of physical protection, our current power armor exists somewhere between Iron Man cosplay and trench coat full of semen. Which is to say,
Oh.
I really don't want to wear it. And it's time to make some changes.
It just sucks.
First up is
Okay.
the robotics disposal ground. I head there, making sure to kill as many innocent people as I can in the process.
Good, always.
Experience points are an invaluable
It is fair game when it comes to the world of radioactive apocalypse.
contribution to humanity's survival, and the world will not soon forget them. Arriving at the destination, we scavenge a few fusion cores, convince a robot to kill himself, and then come across a T-51 power armor. This is a nice upgrade. After that, I raid the nearby satellite base for supplies. This is where we meet a man named Ak, who cripples my brain with
Okay, well, I was about to say, he looks like the Roach King.
a minigun. Very cool, Ak. Thank you. By the time we're done socializing with the locals, we get hit with the next wave of roaches. Only 4 this time, so nothing too serious. Arriving back at the base, we add our T-51 pieces onto the power armor. Now we just need some legs, an arm, and a torso to complete the set. Fortunately, along the west edge of the map, there's half a dozen armor spawns, so I set a waypoint in that direction and get to work. Arriving at a Bible camp, I kill all the counselors to stop them from molesting me. The camp leader even dropped this legendary wrist guard that turns me invisible after being hit. Very nice. Oh, and also I found Professor Goodfield.
Can you like hit yourself
Future of
and then become invisible?
Even the robots are addicted to fentanyl. Proceeding further south, I reach the ration stockpile where
nothing more dangerous than a drugged-up robot.
Several Molotov cocktails and an attack dog. After returning the favor, I loot a T-51 leg and a combat shotgun, which I make sure to test out on the next wave of roaches. Tomorrow's spawn will be 16, then 32. So we're running out of time to finish this armor. Moving on, we can
128.
T-51 left leg. Now we just need the
arm. I'd play a lot of Minecraft.
I know where to find it. The only thing standing in our way is my least favorite enemy in the Fallout franchise, Flying Bug. I am a simple man. I see
Flying Bug.
Are you struggling?
Stingwing or a Cazador, and I experience suicidal ideation. No exceptions. My first attempt at killing the Stingwing involved me shooting at it, doing no damage, getting poisoned, and then being unable to heal myself because my legendary armor turned our Pip-Boy invisible. Shortly after, I die in the streets.
Wait, your Pip-Boy's also invisible. You couldn't even see the screen. That's so messed up, man.
My most recent save was an hour ago. This was a compelling gameplay experience.
Me, when I die in Skyrim, and my last save was, a long time ago.
After an hour of killing, I worked my way back to the Stingwing. This time, we used a hunting rifle to get to 20% health, before miraculously missing a headshot at point-blank range and dying on the spot. Now listen.
If that was me, I'd be screaming how from Aku, like in Samurai Jack when Aku tried to stab Jack with his own sword, completely forgetting that the sword can only harm evil.
I've been outsmarted by bugs before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. So for the third attempt,
that's definitely
going to
be ridiculous.
There you go. A little differently. Each one of those bullets could have been a dead rad roach, and for that, I will never forgive the Stingwing population. Anyway, with that taken care of, I made my way to this military convoy, found the last piece of armor, and fast-traveled back to the base to complete our set. It looks positively beautiful, but it's missing one thing. Something emblematic of the human race that makes us fundamentally better than the bugs.
That was a wasp nest he was eating.
By harnessing the power of branded sponsorships, our extermination exoskeleton now has increased damage and energy resistance. The communist bug maxers don't stand a chance. So we're on day 4 of the Roach apocalypse. We're level 17 with a full set of power armor. This is pretty good, but we're only 1 week away from 1,000 roaches trying to rip us limb from limb. So what's my next move? I ask myself this question, and I answer it intuitively. I need a flamethrower. Now, there's probably a lot of ways to get one of these, but I like doing things the hard way. We're going to travel across the map to a place full of people who hate me, have several flamethrowers, and at least one of them wants to throw us in a giant pot of molten iron.
Oh, well, that's not very nice.
This will be a spiritually enriching experience. So
I would hope so.
A nearby farm to begin the journey. I arrive at the farm just in time to spawn 16 roaches on the helpless inhabitants. This is what we call a happy accident.
Well, at least the inhabitants help you
get
get
rid
rid
toward
of
the
some.
metalworks.
Take
Normal
some.
roads might have speed limits or a toll booth to slow you down. Fallout roads slow you down by forcing you to spend 20 minutes beating a scorpion to death with a tire iron. This is an element of the post-apocalypse that
That's
I
a
find
big scorpion.
personally disagreeable.
It's a very big
Anyway, after
scorpion.
using the scorpion's liquefied remains to fill a pothole, I did some looting, found a
good, another
sledgehammer,
road is
and then
smoothing.
made my way to the Finch farm. Here we find Abraham Finch, who is terribly distraught because his son Jake just ran off to join the raiders over at the metalworks. I look into his eyes and smile reassuringly. Don't worry, old man. I'm going there right now to
It
kill
is okay.
everyone. Quest accepted. I arrive at what I believe
I'll
is
take
the
care of him
metalworks,
for you.
but I wasn't 100% sure until I stumbled into a shed full of flamethrowers. Oh yeah, this is exactly where we want to be.
This is
All we
definitely
have to
the
do
place.
now is
How do you
kill
get tell?
everyone
The
inside,
flamethrower
take their
traps.
weapons, and then we'll be prepared for the next week of roaches. From the perspective of an invasion, my assault against the metalworks was
yes,
an
headshot.
astonishing
25% of the
failure.
health is
As
gone.
a metaphysical exploration of the very concept of pain, it was a remarkable success. You see, the problem is this little skull right here. This is the equivalent of the skull and crossbones you can find on a bottle of drain cleaner, meaning this is incredibly dangerous, and you'll probably die if you drink it. But that didn't stop me back then, and it won't stop me now.
Good.
Eventually, after many landmines and countless sledgehammer homicides, we managed to fight our way into the metalworks. Our power armor, for lack of a better term, is absolutely fucked, but I didn't let that hold us back. In
Oh, I
fact,
thought it was gonna be
started
like your
role-playing
kids
as
carrying
whatever
you.
the opposite of an occupational health and safety officer is, because I'm just running around beating people with a hammer. Wow, thank God this guy's wearing a hard hat.
Oh,
Otherwise,
good.
he
We
could
needed
have
the
got
safety.
Really hurt. I decided to yes and my own role
We may be in an apocalypse, but we are still OSHA compliant.
play by unlocking this robot and programming him to shoot people with railroad spikes. This
Oh,
is the kind of work environment
pretty cool.
I can endorse. Once everyone's dead, I raid the lunchroom and use a collection of coffee pots and dinner forks to repair my armor. Then we head into the
Nice.
last area to confront the final raiders. Arriving there, I
I love it when I repair my power armor by welding small metal bits onto it.
find a raid boss named Slag, and also Abraham's son, Jake,
Oh,
who's having
good.
second thoughts about joining a gang of criminals that get impaled by railroad spikes for a living. I had this
Yeah,
whole
that
plan
seems
about how I was going to
kinda bad.
convince Jake to leave the raiders and return to his father, but before I could do any of that, I accidentally spawned 32 man-eating roaches, and things got a little messy. In fact, I'm pretty sure I beat Jake to death with a sledgehammer. After that, I minigun Slag's bodyguards and then spent 5 minutes determining how many concussions were required to liquefy this man's brain. The answer was 47. Once Slag
okay.
was dead, I looted his incendiary sword,
I was gonna be like,
grabbed
perhaps
some
2,
flamethrowers,
maybe
and threw
even
Jake's
3.
body into the pot of molten iron.
But yeah, 47
Sorry,
works.
bud, but if your father was to find your pulverized corpse, that would implicate me in a murder which I did commit, but sincerely don't want to be punished for. After
that's
that,
true.
I leave the metalworks and go back to Abraham to receive 300 XP for, quote, trying to save his son. Now we've got the armor,
Yeah,
the
trying.
weapons, and the indomitable spirit of a serial killer. Let's head back to the base and prepare for the next wave of roaches. We arrive
good.
at 7 a.m. The first thing I do is modify our flamethrower, swap it over to a napalm fuel tank, increase the capacity,
Napalm.
and elongate the barrel. Much like a purebred dog, hundreds of years of inbreeding have resulted in the modern exterminator being reduced to a pale imitation of his forefathers. Pesticides and sticky traps.
That's a rat trap.
These are the weapons of a coward. But a napalm flamethrower and 5-ton military-grade exoskeleton, this is how bugs were meant to be killed.
This
It's
is
about
peak
8
male
a.m.,
performance.
which gives us 4 hours to prepare our defenses for the wave of 64 roaches. We build a few generators, some fog lights, and a combat platform to await our destiny.
Oh,
Our
beautiful.
destiny spawns gracefully on the bridge in front of us, and I waste no time incinerating it, stripping the flesh from its corpse, and then cooking it into a delicious meal. Things are going to get pretty serious from this
yes,
point.
eating the food
and
of
we're
your
still
enemies.
15 levels away from being able to kill the Roach King. So how are we going to close that gap? Well, there's two options. Option A, when we were at the
Genocide.
metalworks, I picked up the schematics to build copper statues. These give a ton of experience and can easily power level us if we're willing to use an item duplication glitch to generate infinite copper. I tested this out on another save, and I can assure you, it works very well. However, I personally believe glitching and exploiting to be a shameful tactic devised by the British to undermine our moral integrity. So instead, we'll be doing option
Spiffing Brit. We should watch Spiffing Brit videos. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's probably made some for Oblivion since the remake came out. I watched a lot of his Skyrim ones. They're funny, very entertaining.
B, which is waiting. In a few days, thousands of roaches will try to eat us, but if we're strong enough, we'll eat them first, and we'll be rewarded with thousands of experience points. So we're going to fortify our defenses to stab, crush, shoot, and incinerate our way to level 35. But first, we need to scavenge some supplies, because this ain't gonna cut it.
We love the killing
goal
route.
Is to construct a containment chamber, which will allow me to concentrate the roach population in one location for a more convenient genocide. I feel compelled to explain that this is not an allegory for the Holocaust. Please stop recording my video. It's nearly noon, and the construction isn't complete.
I wasn't thinking that, but okay.
We'll need it yet. You see, when leveling up, I grabbed this perk right here. Pain Train is a power armor-based ability that allows you to turn your body itself into a weapon of destruction. By
we just
sprinting
love
into our
battering
enemies,
rams.
we can damage them. Against a full-grown man, this is rather inconvenient.
Bonk.
But against a roach, I suspect it will be lethal. Now it's time to find out.
Very lethal.
And remember, this upcoming insect genocide is sponsored by Sugar Bomb's breakfast cereal. When you feel that crunch, you know it's gotta be Sugar Bombs.
When you feel that
12
crunch.
Sharp, 128 roaches spawn on the bridge in front of us, and we run straight through them like an NFL linebacker blitzing a group of preschoolers.
Oh, that looks so cool.
This pushed us to level 21. The strategy is working. I did a few more flybys and then mercy killed the stragglers with an incredibly painful flaming sword.
That sounds so satisfying.
In the post-apocalypse. Day 13.
Like the
this
grunting
one
and
snuck
crunching
up on
part.
me. I was busy fighting the children of Adam over the contents of this passenger airplane when I lost track of time and accidentally spawned in 256 roaches, which proceeded to kick the ever-living shit out of me. This was terribly embarrassing. At first, I was killing
not
the
ready
children
for
of
this.
Adam because I hate them, but now I'm doing it so they can never tell anyone about what happened here.
Yes, no
to
witnesses.
Survive this onslaught through the liberal and sustained application of copious amounts of napalm, but I'm getting low on fuel, and if we get caught out of our power armor on the next wave, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, no,
As I
you'd
was
die.
sifting through this pile of burnt roaches, I came to a realization. That's a lot of dead bodies, and it's starting to affect my frame rate. This is a problem which is only going to get worse unless we find a solution. And
What's the
thankfully, I've got
solution?
an idea. In Diamond City, there's a meat vendor that sells a wide variety of salmonella, but she also sells a book on butchery, specifically insect butchery. If we get that book, we can process these corpses, which will delete them and save our frame rate. So fellas,
good.
we're going to Diamond City. Based on my previous video,
Thank God, because like, is the bit rate gonna go down a lot? I hope the bit rate doesn't go down a lot.
I have a questionable relationship with Diamond City, but I am absolutely positive that nothing will go wrong this time. So I began my journey
Fingers
there,
crossed.
and like all journeys in the post-apocalypse, it involved me using a flamethrower to kill a mosquito, using a cancer gun to fend off the homeless, and being
Cancer
chased
gun.
through the streets by a suicide bomber. But by 5 a.m., I had successfully made it to the front gate, where I found Piper trying to enter.
You want into Diamond City, right?
Yes, I am a normal and well-adjusted man with a car chassis welded to my torso.
What's that?
I am also very sane and mentally stable. Thank you for asking.
You said you're a traitor up from Quincy?
No, I said I'm a psychopath who wants to wear your skin.
Yeah, I'm kind of crazy. Bro, that was a delayed reaction to that ad. I'm not gonna lie.
Jeez, alright.
And just like that, we're in.
Yo.
First things first, we go to the vendor and pick up the butchery skill book. At this point, I should leave. However, I get a bit distracted. Watch this guy get his head blown off, then I tried to drag away his corpse to cannibalize it. But he got stuck on the wall of this barber shop and I couldn't get him out. So I had to leave him there as their new mascot. Just a little off the top, eh fellas? By
Just
the time
a little
I was
off
done
the
dicking
top.
around, I realized it was already 10:30, which means I'm not going to be able to make it home before the next wave of roaches. So, Diamond City, I'm going to need your help.
And
with
he's
just
out of power
one
armor
last
too.
thing.
He doesn't have it. Oh.
And just like that, the entire city was swarming with 512 killer roaches. The bugs enveloped the area like a skittering, crunchy blanket, and I did my best to clear them out, but even with all of the citizens helping, it still took the better part of the afternoon. Also, at some point, I think I accidentally shot someone in the face, because the entire town became hostile. You know the worst part? Killing them doesn't even give experience. It's just a waste of bullets. So I forced myself to punch half the city to
Bro, at least give it experience. Come on.
death to conserve my ammo. Then I spent 20 minutes jumping around killing the last of the roaches before leaving the city under a healthy amount of incoming gunfire. Until next time, Diamond City. After our escape, we head back to the base.
You see, I think I went pretty well this time around compared to the last time. I have no idea what happened at the last time, but according to looking at that clip, it looks like he set a lot of things on fire.
Arriving at 8:30, which left me just enough time to finish the construction on my cockroach containment device. I call it the cock cage. And now, it's time to test it out. Wave 10 spawns in as a pyramid of roaches. I won't lie, I was scared, but I manned up and ran headfirst into this wall of flesh. My frame rate grinds to a halt as we liquefy hundreds of insects beneath the boots of our power armor. In the mosh pit of mashed up insects,
the
I
bit
can't
rate's
even
doing
tell
good.
what's alive and what's dead. So, I just keep stomping. Heading towards the exit, I was under the impression I'd killed them all. However, I was very wrong. Because not
So many
long
are still
after,
alive.
hundreds of roaches sprang forth from the biomass and pushed me back through the hallway until I ran out of minigun ammo.
It's
Dear
like
God,
the
we're about to
Tyranids
lose
from
containment.
Warhammer.
I have to pull the emergency shutdown lever. I battle my way through 2 frames per second and flip the switch. This activates 4 emergency flamethrowers in the hallway, which prevent any more roaches from escaping.
Oh,
After
good.
that, I finish off the rest of the bugs with my sword as I realize what I've gotten myself into. I hate to say it, but the cock cage is getting a little cramped. The original plan was to fix this by butchering all the corpses, but that made a lot more sense when it didn't take me 20 minutes just to select a single body. The good news is that wave power leveled us to 32. Only 3
just a couple
more
more
levels
left.
to go, and the Roach King will spawn, we'll kill him, and then I can shoot myself in the chest and die happily, knowing I'll never have to do this challenge again. The very bad news is that my
that's pretty much the
computer
same-
won't be able to
same as me
handle
when I challenge
doubling the
myself, too.
wave again. And I don't think you want to watch the rest of this video in 6 frames per second.
Yeah, I'd
I
rather
have
not.
made a horrifying decision. Instead of spawning in the next wave of 2,000 roaches, we'll spawn in 500 Mega Death Roid roaches. They have 8 times the attack, 8 times the health, triple speed, and they're fucking huge. Also, they possess godlike omniscience, which means they can detect me from an entire cell away, so hiding won't be an option. Now,
that's
unfortunately, our main
fantastic.
base is ground zero of an FPS nuke, so we'll need to find a new extermination arena, and I've got one in mind. The Starlight Drive-In is a large area fielding several buildings for shelter and also a number of pre-war cars that can be exploded to deal massive damage to the bugs. I think this is our best chance at survival, so I made
got a
my way to the
minefield.
drive-in and waited for the next wave. As I was lighting this car on fire, I felt a familiar feeling, the feeling of my frame rate being crucified, as 500 Anavar-infused rad roaches spawn into the world. Luckily, I spawned them on top of this car right as it exploded, and it barely even made a dent. The roaches chased me across the drive-in as I bathed them in Molotov cocktails to very limited success.
There's so
I tried
many!
to slash my way through their hordes, but they're quickly
This would suck really bad if you're afraid of bugs.
ripping
Maybe not watch this video.
apart my power armor. Desperately, I seek refuge
They're
in the
tearing them
projection
apart.
tower. Locking myself inside, I think I'm finally safe. Only to find out the roaches are crawling through the windows and hitting me through the walls.
Oh,
this
no.
is hell. I climbed 3 floors higher to get out of their reach, but they're literally scaling the side of the building to
They
get
are
to me.
climbing on
This
top of
wasn't
each
so
other.
much a difficulty spike as it was a difficulty gangbang with a 99% fatality rate. And as much as I'd love to have my body dumped in the Everglades, I can't let the roaches have that satisfaction.
We cannot
Alright,
let them
we need
win.
to get even higher. Over there, we can climb the projection screen. I pull out a combat
but one
shotgun and
climbed
make
up there
a mad
too.
dash for the screen. The roaches are not far behind. I rush inside and slam the door shut. Thank God, we're finally safe. Looking down at the roaches, I think I'll have a nice relaxing afternoon picking them off with a hunting rifle, when suddenly we're knocked off the screen by a climbing roach. And just like that, the horde is upon us. We're encased in killer bugs. And
Not
it
to
is
mention, you gotta try to
immensely
kill them before the
painful.
next
If
day.
you've ever been curious what it would feel like to be ripped apart by 1,000 grappling hooks, then you should probably talk to a psychiatrist. But
How
I
to
imagine
basic?
it feels something like this. The only thing keeping us alive at this point is my supernatural ability to consume my entire body weight in grilled rad roach every second. It's time to resort to
The
plan
hot dog
B.
eating
You see,
NPC
I
guy.
spent 2 hours this morning placing landmines in a nearby field, and like it or not, running through an unmarked minefield currently represents our best chance at survival.
You love to see it. I like placing unmarked landmines and then hopefully not needing to go through it, but just waiting for people to walk through, you know? Sounds
So I
like fun.
forced my way through the dog pile and led the bugs into our trap. The roaches stormed the field and were lit up by about 3 dozen anti-personnel mines.
You're
This
also getting
managed
lit
to
up there,
thin their
buddy.
numbers down to about 100 at the cost of accidentally breaking both of our legs. After this mildly traumatic event, I briefly sought refuge inside a boxcar, and I also tried a watchtower. Both of them terrible choices. It
Yeah.
wasn't until we made it to this storage shed
You
that we
forget they
finally
can
had
climb.
some semblance of safety. In case you're wondering, it's 5:30. We spent 5.5 in-game hours pissing our pants and getting curb stomped by roaches. But now we've got the upper hand. I spent the next 6 hours exercising my Second Amendment rights until the number of bugs was sufficiently low for me to meet them in the field for melee combat.
And
By
now you
11
gotta
PM,
run home.
It's finally over, and we're level 37. Finally,
Ooh.
we can confront the King Roach and finish this. But first,
Never
we're going to
mind.
need one thing. After repairing our armor,
nuke
I head
gun?
to the robotics disposal site, where hidden among the burnt-out cars, we find this. A Fat Man mini nuke launcher.
Fat
and over at
Man.
the satellite station, exactly one mini nuke. This should be more than enough. Let's go introduce
Maybe.
the Roach King to the concept of dying in nuclear Armageddon. I've never actually met him before, but apparently he's somewhere near the Corvega factory, so we head in that direction. After some traveling, we arrive there, but the only person I can find is
It's a
clearly not a
behemoth.
fan of the channel. Briefly running for my life leads me to a bombed-out ruin, which was strangely populated by rad roaches. And then I see him, Reggie, the leader of the roaches. He's fielding pretty nice armor and a fucking minigun. But
Oh, well,
after
that's
what
just
we
fantastic.
survived, this should be a piece of cake. We've only got one ammo, so I take my time lining up the perfect shot, before remembering I'm firing a nuclear missile. So as long as I hit the building, we'll be fine. Enter VATS. 9% chance to hit, no problem. I send
take
it,
those
and then
odds.
tragedy strikes. As
What's
the
wrong?
mini nuke flies through the air, Wave 12 spawns in, an entire goddamn wall of 1,000 mega roaches. Dear God, they've absorbed the nuke. It feels as if
Oh,
the gods themselves are
no.
mocking us, laughing in our face.
He summoned his roaches just in time to protect him. Oh no.
But that's just my idiot savant perk triggering 500 times in a row. How humbling. The surviving roaches quickly swarm us as I power level into the mid-40s.
And they're mega
I force my way
Deathroid.
into the building to finish off Blataria, but he escapes out the window as his bugs delay me on the stairs. I follow him outside.
He's
and
too
get a few
powerful
good
with
hits
his
off
roaches.
before his roaches throw me 30 feet across the field like some kind of arthropod tidal wave.
He's
Every
far
time
too
I close
strong.
the distance on him, the bugs launch me across the parking lot, but he's running out of bugs. Roach King makes the mistake of stepping out
I
of
hope he's also
position,
running out of
and we
bullets.
charge straight into him, landing the finishing blow with our sword to finally put an end
Oh,
to
thank
his
God.
reign of tyranny. We finish off the remaining roaches, exit the power armor, and inspect his charred corpse. On it, we find the junky shish kebab, which is the exact same weapon I've been using this whole time.
Oh, well,
except
good.
This one does more damage if you're addicted to heroin.
Oh,
Honestly,
even
I couldn't
better.
have asked for a better weapon.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. He's dead.
Thank God.
No king rules forever. However, without their master's command, the insect scourge will become an even greater threat to this world.
Oh wait,
Control
are they still
must be maintained.
Uh,
Like it or not, there must always be
A king.
Roach King.
he became the very thing
That's
he
going to be it
destroyed?
for this video. We've utilized a wide array of extermination techniques and our own brain damage to power level to 35 and end the insect apocalypse. I want to thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel, and finally, thank you for watching.
All right. You're busting beats. All right, that was Reggie's video about the roaches doubling every day. Honestly, it's an interesting challenge in of in itself. I wonder if it was like a mod that you found on like Nexus mods or something, or like he just he basically like he coded it in himself, or he had someone coded it in for, you know, make a little special mod for himself, because that does seem like an interesting challenge. I think Skyrim also has a bunch of other mods too. Like I think there's a Skyrim mod where you have a certain amount of time before Alduin actually just eats and destroys the world. So that one's also pretty cool. I think there's also like a zombie apocalypse mod in Skyrim too. But yeah, that's been Reggie's video. I'll probably go watch some like Spiffing Brit videos as well, because I completely forgot about that guy. So I guess stay tuned for that, and then stay tuned for more videos, because there's always more coming. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, bye bye.